I am Kimberly Trapani, executive producer of All Consuming Filming, and we are rolling our Abuse of Power show. And today on air, it is my pleasure to introduce Andre Ward from T25 CL Entertainment. Hello, Andre.
Hey, Kimberly Trapani, how are you today? And thank you for inviting me onto your show. And I
Oh,
think
I'm
we'll have a good
great.
one. It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you, Andre?
Oh, I'm fine, Kimberly Trapani. You know, we talk just about every day, and so you know what we both are trying to do right now. We're getting ready to make it happen. So we're rolling with the punches.
It's a pleasure, Andre, to have you on air from sunny California. Tell me, how's the weather in California?
Well, you know, where I am here in the Emeryville, Oakland area, and we're right across the bridge from San Francisco. And so what happens here is I just came in from my walk and I go down on the marina, and you go down there, it's windy and cold. But if you go 20 miles in any direction, north or east or south, it might be 100 degrees. And so they get the hot weather, we get the cool weather. The further you get away from the water, the warmer it gets.
Wow, and you have beautiful beaches out in California, and you're in the northern part, aside from all of the drama in LA. So it's probably peaceful and quiet, correct?
Oh yes, yes. My whole environment here is very, very peaceful, very quiet neighborhood and all that. And so it's all good. It's all good.
Andre, you're on my Abuse of Power show. You're a distributor with T25CL Entertainment. Tell me about you.
Oh me, that's a boring subject. All right. Well, you know, I was raised and grew up here in the Bay Area, Oakland, California, Oakland Techno High School, St. Mary's College and University out in Moraga, California. My degree is in business administration, economics, and accounting. And I've been doing accounting and being in business for myself for the past 50 plus years and stuff. So, you know, I'm not a W 2 person, I'm a 1099 person. So, I've done things in residential real estate development. I've worked for developers, I've been a developer, and here I am here with T25 Sales Entertainment, and that's a story with inside of itself, with its humble beginnings back in the '90s, and
Wow.
we'll probably pick up bits and pieces of it as we progress along in the show.
Absolutely and definitely, Andre. And you're super cool because you're my film distributor.
That's right.
With the movie Trumpoline, you picked me up, but out of the kindness of your heart. Tell me about your company. How did it get started? Who are your clients? Give me the lowdown.
Well, T25CL Entertainment. Well, it all started back in the '90s. It was a plan for a micro city project, and it was called T25CL, or Towards 25th Century Living. That's what the C and the L means. Entertainment was a part of it. There are various components. And what we were doing and still are doing is developing a futuristic city for the future. And so, but we did out of that, it has various components in it. It has education and development and various other parts of it, and health and wellness and so forth. But entertainment is a component. So we just decided just to break off the entertainment part of it, Ricardo Burgess and myself, and that started maybe around 2010 or so.
Let me
And
cut
so,
you off there for a second. Hold that thought. Happy birthday, Ricardo.
happy birthday, Ricardo, also known as Space Boy around here.
Are you going to sing to him?
Oh,
You're
hell
going to do a
no.
happy birthday
I,
serenade?
I wish Rosalind was on. She would do the singing. She is the singer of the company. She's the third leg of the company. It's Ricardo, myself, and Rosalind. Any singing? I left her a message to join the show. I know that she's at work, but But if she comes on, she'll be more than happy to sing him a song.
Ricardo, I'll blow you kisses.
All right. All right, Space Boy.
Well, I
Oh,
hope wherever you are today, Ricardo, that you have the best, amazing, wonderful birthday. We love you.
mhm. Oh, yes, yes. He means a lot to the company. And, he's into IT. So he makes this whole thing happen. You know, I come up with things in my head of what I want to see, and he makes those things happen. And
Yes,
so,
it's amazing to have a good IT person.
oh, yeah, he's very important to have that.
It's about
And
the technical.
yeah, and it's very, I'm telling you, because these things break down, and even with the websites, need to be updated. Ours needs to be updated, and even like with Rosalind, she's in charge of the music division of this thing. Ricardo and myself, we don't sing or dance or whatever, but she does. I mean, she's top of the line singer. So
Rosalind, you got to send us a happy birthday serenade, and then I can incorporate it in future dealings.
mhm. Oh shoot! Yep, yep,
Yes,
definitely.
absolutely. So you have a company, T25CL Entertainment,
Mhm.
who are how who are the artists? How do you find these people?
Well,
How do you get this talent?
you know what? This platform was developed for independent artists, and there's a bunch of independent artists out there. And back in the day, it was about 15 years or so ago, this whole concept came up for musicians. These guys who are selling their CDs out of the trunk of their cars, or if they're doing a gig in a bar or a restaurant, whatever, and they're trying to make their little money on stage, but they're also trying to sell their CDs. And CDs, that's probably a forgotten thing nowadays. But 15 years ago, CDs were the things with artists. And so even when I first met Roz, I met her online around 2012, 11 or 12 or so, and she had a CD. And so then she jumped on board with us. But she brought in the majority of the musical artists, and a lot of them are from LA that you see on our site. There's Mark Allen Felton, Brenda Lee Edgar, Mark Allen Felton, Charles Small, uh, various other artists that are Cleveland Jones and the Five Tempting Men, Wally Taylor, all
Wow.
of them are in LA. We have just a few up here. Myron Edwins is up here in this area. Leroy Wainwright is up here in this area as well. But the majority of artists are in LA.
Wow, that's amazing. Shout out to my business colleagues. We love you.
Yeah, yeah. And so the intent was to put these things up there so the artists outside of sell them out of the trunk of their cars and in the on their platforms to hey, send their clients here to T25CL so that their work can be downloaded without trying to sell the physical CD. And nobody's selling CDs anymore. But this is what the intent was back in the time. But when you download our artist CD, we don't sell CDs. We sell the MP3 version of that of
The
their music.
online streaming version, because
Right.
I remember when I had CDs, because I'm that old, and I had my
Hmm.
favorite lineup and everything. Well, I remember the 8 tracks. I'm that old, but
Yes.
the
Yeah.
CDs. I was so excited to go to the FYE store and get my favorite CDs, and I liked like all kinds of music. And I used to have to buy CDs. There was one artist that I bought a CD again and again and again because it kept wearing out and it kept skipping and it kept scratching. So I had to go back and keep buying the same CD over and over and over again.
Hmm.
And I wish I could say that was Michael Jackson, but I did have Michael Jackson's record. But
Hmm.
the problem with the CDs was, number one, they stopped selling them in FYE, and you have to get them online. But the skipping and the scratching, and
Right.
it could wear it out. So with your concept of business, you can go on and just press play and buy this and stream it, and it won't wear out. You can play it and play it and play it, correct?
Well, you download it. What you do is just pay the little small price point for it, and then you download it to your computer or your phone or whatever, and it becomes part of your library. And so you can play it anytime in the MP3 format. But you can also sample the artist's music. I think there's about 30 seconds of each song of each artist that are on the site under the artist name. So just go and click on the artist, and you
Okay.
see them right there on our website at t25cl.com. That's t25cl.com. And you can just look at our library of film and for music, and then click on the various artists, and you can just go right to their page. And it just gives a little bit about them, and also you can see all their songs there and just sample them out for 30 seconds.
So you just download it on your cell phone or your
Right.
laptop device,
Right.
and you can get that forever, or does
Yeah.
it only last still a period
No,
of time?
no, only with film. If
Okay.
you go to view, now you can't download a film. You can see it for 48 hours. You can look at it all day long, just like your film. You
Yes,
come on, pay
absolutely.
the price point, and that is not downloaded to your device. It comes in another format, MP4, and the music is MP3, and the MP4s that goes to our server, and you can look at that film as many times as you want in 48 hours.
Andre, how has the company transformed from the original vision of T25CL Entertainment to in the 90s to now 2025? How has your company transformed over time with the
Well,
current conditions?
Well, like I said, it was a component of the overall micro city concept. And this is just one component that we deployed. And of course, technologies and things change over the years. And since then, we've added T25CL radio on. We have about 6,000 songs on there. And that's for your listening entertainment. I play it all day in my background. I cannot work unless I'm listening to T25CL radio, and all of our artists' music is
Wow.
on T25CL radio. But
So you have the radio that can be streamed all around the world, correct?
all over the world, you can hear T25CL radio.
That's amazing. And tell me about, you have ebooks and health and wellness, correct?
Okay, not health and wellness. We haven't deployed it as yet, even though we did some videos with health and wellness. Dr. Angela Wheeler, she was doing
Okay.
some things back with it with Dr. Watson, but we never did really promote that. We did that as a favor for her, just to put her health and
Wow.
wellness things. She was working on the sarcoidosis thing, but with us, it's mainly music, film, and with the ebooks as well. Now you can download ebooks. We've only got a couple of them. There's a test. Dr. Kwaku's book is there, and I think there's one more. No, it's just Dr. Kwaku's book, and it's called Whiteout, and he's here locally. And now you just pay the price point for that, and you can download that to your phone or your computer. It's a digital download. That's yours.
That's amazing. And these artists are pretty talented. And
Oh
they're
yeah.
my business colleagues, and I've heard them and I've seen them and I know some of them.
Hmm.
And you said most of them are out of Los Angeles. but
Yes.
you're open to having artists all around the country.
Oh yeah, we have some Nigerian artists, some out of Atlanta, another one that's out of Houston as well. That's on the site. But the ones that are in LA, those are the uh, the real professionals who have been around for a bit. Brenda Lee Edgar, who was with Jerry Butler back in the 70s. Cleveland Jones, Five Tempting Men. They are a spinoff of the Temptations. I think Cleveland was with the
Wow.
Temptations for a while. And then you will see them in our motion picture project, United We Stand. You will
Yes.
see, yeah, yeah. And I
Let's
know you.
talk about you. We're going to get back to your company in a minute, but let's
Mhm.
talk about United We Stand. Tell me about that. What is United We Stand in the vision, and how you came up with the slogan United We Stand?
Okay, put on your seatbelts for that one. That happened serendipitously, just like a whole lot of other things here. United We Stand with our artists. There was a friend of mine by the name of Bob Chu, and he's one of the investors in Sins of 72. And he was telling us about this other guy in LA by the name of Dr. Burton Dannett, who is associated with United Nations. And so the United Nations wanted me to bring some of my artists to perform for about 10, 12, 15 minutes or so, as because they were bringing light to global poverty. So we said, okay, we'll do it. We get some artists together and we'll do whatever you guys need us to do. Then all of a sudden, the promoters of the project had a pissing contest and they bailed out. And then they came back to us and said, guess what? Can you guys do something a little bit bigger than just doing a couple of songs? And so what we did is we got all of our artists together and we decided let's do a whole show. And we did a whole show
Oh,
in
wow.
LA, in LA at the Warner Grand Theater. And so,
Wow. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And so Rosalind and Myron Edwards and Ray Cole, they came up with an original soundtrack name of United We Stand. And United We Stand is on T25CL radio. And so
Amazing.
we had about 30 of our artists at the time. We had a group from Senegal called the Balafete Dance Troupe. They opened it up. And we had our other artists, and it was a culmination of jazz, R&B, gospel, and West African music in this film. And
Oh
so
my
there's a
goodness.
yeah, and it was to bring attention to global poverty and working along with the United Nations and their agenda to get a billion people off of the poverty rolls by the year 2030. And so we
Fabulous.
just did our little part with it.
Yes, and that's amazing. That's like we are the world of
Yeah,
2020
yeah, hmm
something. Yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome. We got to
yeah,
roll that at some point, or even
yeah,
a little clip of it. Maybe you
yeah.
can send that to me and I can incorporate it. However, Rosalind is super talented. I do know, and I know
Yes.
members of her family who have powerhouse voices. It's
hmm
so fabulous.
Oh
What,
man, yeah.
Andre, is your biggest success over the years?
Oh wow. As it pertains towards the entertainment business, um, I would probably say um, coming together, putting United We Stand together, and also that film project. Because whenever I watch it, I said, "Damn, did we do that?" You know, it's something once you make a film and then you come back and review it. Because I was involved with the editing process of it as well, and also putting everything on the timeline. And you know how that goes when you, because you can shoot something, but now you got to tell the story. So with United We Stand, we shot something and told the story afterwards. Usually you tell the story first when you make a film. You write it out. But this worked in reverse. And so we told the story second, and how there's a doctor from out of Berkeley, her and her husband, they went into Nigeria because the women in Nigeria were delivering babies by flashlight because, and I've been to Nigeria, so I know how.
I've
Uh,
heard. That's amazing.
yeah, and I know how the power goes down. And so here it is, they're delivering babies by flashlights, and not all the babies made it. And so they invented this little solar box, and the solar box generated light into the delivery rooms and stuff. And so that's all part of the film.
And you mentioned Sin of 72. We've talked about Sin of 72. For our audience, what is Sin of 72?
That's something else that came along serendipitously. See, okay, I gotta, here, here it is, right here. It's a motion picture script. And, but how that came about, you know, it's hard for you to believe. Now, I was a part owner in a cosmetology school here in Oakland. All right.
You
One of
were?
my,
Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
one of my ventures that I've been involved in. And
Wow.
and my niece knew this guy that worked at the studios. I believe it was either Universal or Paramount Studios. And you remember when the Queen Latifah movie came out, Beauty
Yes, you
Shop?
worked with her. We can name drop. Hi, Queen Latifah.
In Beauty Shop. And so she hooked me up with this guy from the studios and said, and he told me that they're having a national competition with all the beauty shops across the country. And
Wow. You could do my hair.
yeah, from 3,000 miles away, huh? And 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 so they asked us to do it, to participate, but we were the only school that
That's
participated, and there were shops all
wow.
the way from San Francisco to New York, all the way across the country
My
that
goodness. My
participated in
goodness.
this project. And it just so happened that my students got involved, and they put all these mannequins and stuff in the windows at the school, dressed it all up, and it made it look really, really nice. And so the studios came out and saw what we did and compared it what was across the country, and we won. And so we won.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. And so we won $5,000 and
My goodness.
tickets. I took all my students to the premiere of Beauty School at the Kabuki Theater in San Francisco. Now,
Wow.
I had to tell you that part to answer your question, so this all makes sense because nothing in my life makes sense. Right?
Thank.
Yeah. And so we were just sitting around the office one day and said, you know, happy about what we had just did and the accomplishment. We said, with as wacky as our students are in this place here would make a story. Yeah. And so
Absolutely.
we kind of laughed about it a little bit. And then my guy Bob Chu knew this filmmaker in Oakland by the name of Fat Rob. And he went out and told them this, what we were talking about. And next thing you know, Fat Rob shows up at the school and said, man, you can do it.
Is that church guy that raps or something? The
No,
Christian?
no,
Is
no,
that
no,
the Fat Rob? No.
no, this was the Fat Rob. And so
Okay.
I'm going to try to condense this story as much as he can. So we came up with a script called Beauty School. Now, I got to try to, I'm going to skip over a bunch of stuff. And so next thing you know, when we made Beauty School, the story started developing a little bit. And then it came into, it was changed to Second Chance. The next thing you know, it just in developing this stuff, I started meeting people in LA. And then next thing you know, there was some interest in this. And I started meeting a bunch of household names. And so then I met with this guy named Osen Choi in Beverly Hills. And telling him about Second Chance. He said, let me look that up. I've heard that name before. He said, that title's been taken. You need to do something else. And so it came back to Oakland and we did a brainstorming. We came up with a bunch of stupid names. And then I said, wait a minute. Sins of 72, because the story started in 72.
Wow.
The 15 pages of this script is in 1972. All right.
Andre, I'm happy to say I wasn't born yet, but I'm not far behind that.
Well, you're right. I mean, I lived it. I was there in 72. And so it's sort of like a self-redemption story. But we did it in a school setting. The story is based around the students and the owners of the school and how the 70s comes back to maybe haunt them a little bit into the current day.
That's
But everybody
awesome.
in LA that has seen this thing, they just love it. They just love it.
Is that so? Is that a what kind of genre? Comedy script or what kind
Oh,
of
oh
genre
no,
would
this
you
is going to.
call it?
It's definitely not a comedy. It's going to be definitely a drama. And
Okay.
you might get a little
Awesome.
chuckle or two in it somewhere along the way. A little chuckles there at the school, but it's a very serious thing, and you're going to see how the story is going to go back in the time periodically, not only to the 70s, but also to about 4,000 years ago, too, to East Africa, then
Wow.
progressing into West Africa, and then going into the early 1900s, and then into the 1970s.
So you started a concept for T25CL Entertainment in the 90s, and then
Hmm.
you grew to a globally distribution company with music, with film, with
Yeah.
books,
Hmm.
and with some health and wellness videos. What do you want to do? What are your goals for the company in the next like 6 months to a year now that we're
Hmm.
transforming into a different time?
Well, well, the goal is first off, I'm going to pick this thing up again. Send to 72. I got to get this done. I got to get in pre-production this year, and I want to do it right. And so it's not going to be bastardized at all. And so I've been waiting for the right time and the money to come in, and it looks like we're getting closer to that happening. And so I want to get into pre-production this year, hopefully production this year, and release it. If we really kick ass on it, maybe in December, but next year probably be a release on it.
Absolutely and definitely. And I want to see it on screen. Absolutely and definitely.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit, but before we get into a little bit of a dark topic, and you know this is coming, first of all, I want to know about your boxing days. Can you clarify? Because everybody thinks you're a boxer. Tell me about that.
Let me show you something. Boy, everybody thinks I'm a boxer. They might be right, but hold on a second. Let me do something. No,
I wonder what Ricardo's having for dinner on his birthday. Not to change topic. Oh my goodness, what is that? Holy moly! That looks
that
official. What is it?
it's a world championship belt. And so you go back and tell them got my name on it too up in here. All right. All
Wow!
right. And this is
A
another.
standing ovation because that's amazing. A lot farther along than most people. Tell me about it.
And that damn thing is heavy too. And so here we go again. My crazy life. This was back in 2000. I met a I met a boxer that old timers will know. His name is Bash Ali, and he's from Lagos, Nigeria. He actually went to UC Berkeley, right up the street here,
Wow.
and I met him. And so he was associated with the World Boxing Federation out of Tennessee. And he said, "Hey, I want to go for this championship. I need a promoter for this championship." I said, I've never promoted a fight before. And so after numerous discussions, I got to cut this one short too. I'm got to skip over a bunch of stuff.
This is
And
exciting though. People, the boxers all around the world want to hear this. So tell
yeah,
it.
and so the brother who introduced him to me, his name is Derek Jones. And so Derek Jones is also one of the investors in Sins of 72. And so we had several meetings with him, conference calls, and so forth. And we decided to take on this project. And this was around June or so of 2000. And then next thing you know, somewhere in the middle of July or so, we get on the plane and we go to Lagos, Nigeria to
Wow.
meet with the powers to be.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, when we got off the plane with myself, Derek, and Bash, we got bombarded by hundreds of people there at the
Wow.
airport. And when we
Swarmed.
were there, and we just went there to do all the preliminary stuff to introduce the fight. The current champion at the time was his name was Terry Ray, out of Terre Haute, Indiana.
That's
And
exciting.
so we did some negotiations there uh, with the powers to be, and we decided to go ahead on and do it. Came back home, changed clothes, and went back. And around the latter part of August or so, and we met up with Terry Ray and Ron Scaff, the president of the World Boxing Federation in London. Then we
Wow.
all flew together. We met them in London. We flew into Lagos, and then we got into all the marketing, promotions. And I tell people all the time. And then we also went into Abuja,
Wow. That
Nigeria,
is
to meet with,
unbelievable. Like to
with
have that kind of a story,
yep.
Andre, and
And
to be swarmed in Nigeria. Can you like paint the picture? What was it like?
I tell people this. I tell everybody the only way I can really describe this is I knew what it felt like to be Michael Jackson, Prince, Beyonce, or Michael Jordan. I know what that feeling was to have press around you on a daily basis, people grabbing on you. You get in the cars and people jumping on the cars and blocking the cars, and you're trying to go places. You know, I got the feeling of being a celebrity, and and
Absolutely,
and it was a
definitely.
hell of a feeling. And then uh, on the
Wow.
night of September 10th, I was in the bar with Ron Scaff, the president of the World Boxing Federation. We were sitting there at the
Wow.
bar, and he said, "Terry Ray is pissed, he's mad, and he's going to kill your boy Bash." All right.
Really?
And September 11th, we go to the stadium, fighting all the traffic, and we get in the dressing rooms. I got to go into both of the dressing rooms. I got to watch both of the boxers get strapped up and taped up and everything, and putting the gloves on. It's got to be autographed off, signed off. There's a commissioner there, there's a referee there, and all of the preliminary stuff is done. And now we go into the ring. Boom. We got to march past thousands of people to get into the ring, people screaming, yelling all over
Wow.
the place. And then after it's all said and done, seventh round TKO, Terry Ray couldn't answer the bell. We ended up winning the match, and now I got to get back to the dressing room. I'm telling you, you know, in the show The Incredible Hulk, when he changes from David Banner to
Yes.
Incredible Hulk,
Yes.
and you see how his shirt is torn to
My,
shreds. My shirt was torn to shreds by people just grabbing on, and it was a brand new shirt, just made in Nigeria, and uh, and
wow.
so all of that, and we go back to the hotel. The next thing you know, we're partying all over the place, up all night. It was a big party after that.
Unbelievable. And when before I started a film company, I was doing travel for name boxers, and I'm in a music video with Mike Tyson. So I get the hype the cameras, you got swarmed. Like
Yeah.
I've been close to like being swarmed before, like when I was in Italy and we were driving through population of people and I told them that I was filming a music video for a celebrity kind of thing. That's a different story for a different day, but being swarmed, was it, how did you feel? Were you in shock? Was it scary? What did you
Well,
think?
well, there's videos on a lot of this stuff. There's videos on the interviews and all that, and with AIT, African International Television, with Tony Akiwande, who
Wow.
interviewed us and all of that. And you just, I mean, it was just great. The food was great. You just got to get used to it. First couple of days, you're going to get sick, and but once you get used to it, here's a story. We were coming from the gym. We were training, and we are coming back on the road, and then Bash told the driver, "Pull over." And so we pulled over on the side of the road, and there's a brother out there with a barbecue pit, and he was cooking something. And so here it is. We got all of our entourage, you know, with and this is called something called suya that he was cooking. And I know at the immunization office they said don't eat anything on the side of the road. I said okay, I ain't touching it. But I'm looking at that stuff, boy, oh boy. And you open up the foil, it's like little strips of beef and stuff. I'm watching all the guys around me. They're just taking it and downing it. I said, wait a minute, they're not dying. So hell, let me try it too. So I tried some of that suya, looked damn good, put it in my mouth and chewed it up. And so next thing you know, one of my security team started coming to me like this with a bottle. He's coming at me to drink this water. I'm saying, why does he want me to drink that? Then all of a sudden, bloom, I started spitting fire because it was seasoned very well. But it tasted damn good. But I just swallowed the water, and it was so damn good. I said, let me do it again. And I
Wow.
went back and ate some more of it. And so, man, it is. I tell that Suya story all the time. But it
Yeah.
was,
Were you
yeah.
in shock when you were there? Was it like
Well,
toxic shock?
the shock came um, in the seventh round when Terry Ray couldn't answer the bell,
Wow.
and I said, "Holy crap, we won! Man, we actually won this damn thing!" And so jump back up into the ring. People all in the. It was total commotion in that ring, and it was. I
Oh,
remember a
goodness.
few days before that, we went out into another village, and the chief there told me, "Don't have that fight at that stadium." I said, "Why?" He said, "It's going to rain." Rain. He said, "It's going to rain. You need to have it indoors. Don't have it at that stadium." It's an outside stadium on a soccer field. And so I went back to Bash. I said, Chief said, "Hey, man, you better have it inside because it's going to rain." He said, "Don't you worry." And so him and Mojo went out into the bush on that Friday night before the fight. Whatever they did, they did. And I know on the way to the stadium, it was raining all around that stadium, but not one drop of water hit inside of that
Oh,
stadium. Now, if you
wow.
ever see the film Ali with Will Smith in it,
Yes.
seventh round knockout with that. Also, you saw how the rain came down right after that fight.
Amazing.
When
Wow.
we left that stadium, people couldn't even get to the stadium from some places because of all the water that was around. Same thing.
And not one drop, like a miracle from God or
I
something.
I never got wet. And so Nigeria, it's yeah, we saw some strange things. We definitely did, but that was one right there, not one drop of water. It was though somebody put an invisible cereal bowl over that stadium and no water touch that state. Raining all over the place, pouring down,
Wow,
but not in
amazing.
that
Like
stadium.
a gift from God.
Yeah.
What? Tell me a little bit about, and I don't like this topic because we got something going on in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So, and there's a trial 3 hours away. I could just drive there and go to court. And I have my side, and a lot of people have their side, and whatever side. But what is going on in Hollywood right now? And I've heard Satan is taking over, it's the apocalypse. Can you comment on Hollywood? What is happening this year in 2025 with filming?
And, it's sad to talk about it, of course, but it's just something that's just been going on for years. But it's just now coming to the surface, and there's there's a lot of evil that is there, and stuff that you or I don't want to get involved in. And I will not. I would rather go back to working at Jack in the Box before I have to go and do some of the things that some of these people are doing. A lot of this stuff is on the internet. You can find it for yourself, anybody that's listening. And I don't have to say it myself, but yes, there is a lot of wicked stuff going. Yes, there's a lot of stuff underground, going on underground in some of these artists' homes. And and if you look at the film Eyes Wide Shut, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. And you see the things that are going on with the Puff Daddy situation. And it's all a continuation of that. It's something that we don't want to get involved in. And, we all want money, we all want fame, but we want to get it on a fair level. We
Yeah.
don't want to have to sacrifice our soul, go out and drinking adrenochrome and sacrificing children and all that. No, we're not into it for this. We're here to tell stories and to, want to display our work. We want to make the artists happy. We want to do great music. We don't want to get into any of that satanic type stuff. And so something is going to have to be done. I think we hear certain things now about it being cleaned up, and we see the music thing is really corrupt, very, very corrupt. And so you see it on the news every day. And so, but the film industry has a lot of stuff associated with it as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because you have a distribution company. You and I have never done, we don't do drugs or for lack of a better word, sleep our way to the top to make it in this business. And the way the studios are going with the filming, they require certain things and there's no MGs anymore. Can you elaborate a little bit on the distribution side of the business? What makes this so wonderful that people can bring their film directly to Andre Ward and send it all over the world with their story?
Well, yeah, I mean, all the artists, whether it's music or film, want their work to be promoted all over the world. But not everybody is going to get these major Hollywood deals. And we've heard historically the Ray Charles story and all these other artists and stuff. And they get these deals, and next thing you know, they only get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6% of the royalties on and stuff on their work. And so we're a small company. We don't have to get into all that corruption crap. You don't have to get on the casting couch or anything
Yes.
like that. All we want to do is give the people the opportunity that cannot go to the major places and make the millions of dollars. And I guarantee you, in today's world, until this cleaned up, any of these people you see making hundreds of millions of dollars, I'll say it. They've said it. Kanye has said it. He had to
Say it.
sacrifice his mother, you know, and other artists have had to. And he said it. I'm not saying it. Kanye said it. And
Yes.
yeah, he said it out
I've
of his
heard
own mouth.
about how the people, the mothers of these artists in trial are mortgaging their houses to get a record deal. And so, and then my sister, who was an attorney back in the day, representing doctors and nurses and major baseball players in New York as a prominent attorney, even told me, don't ever go to a Hampton party because
Hmm.
there's sex, drugs, and orgies.
Right.
So, this is a situation. What do you think sets you apart, Andre, in film, in Hollywood, apart from the rest of these people?
Well, see, these people have a talent, first of all, that I don't have. I don't sing. I don't dance. I'm not an actor, even though I do get in front of the cameras periodically. It was a scary thing initially when I got in front of a camera. And so, but I've gotten used to that now. But a lot of these people want the money, the bling. They want it instantaneously. And they have some degree of a basis of talent to get them there. And now, after these people, if they are people, get a hold of them and they change their body configurations around and so forth, and they amp their voices up by way of computers and microphones and so forth. And, they do certain things to the body, to the women, and then certain rituals you have to go through. But some people will sacrifice their soul just for that. And there's a story out right now on Robert Johnson, the guitar player from down in Mississippi back in the 40s and stuff. It's a big story. I watched the videos on that. And it shows how he went to the crossroads. Somebody said, you got to go to the crossroads at midnight there in Mississippi. You'll meet a man. And he went. He had his guitar with him. He gave him the guitar. He did a few things with the guitar, gave it back to him. Then Robert Johnson became a world-known guitarist, probably the baddest guitarist in the world. And he started teaching all of the famous groups after that. But what did he do at the crossroads? As the story says, he sold his soul.
You mentioned that Hollywood needs to be cleaned up. What did you mean by that?
The entities that are the people with the power that live in the multi-million dollar homes that control the industry down there, the studios and so forth, the ones that are practicing this wickedry, whether it's blood sacrifices, Satanism, or whatever. If you are doing it, I'm saying if you're doing that for fame and fortune and taking advantage of these kids that are coming up to do this. And the next thing you know, you're getting these battles, these east-west battles of these rappers and so forth. And all the artists that have died and all this stupid crap. And then all the bling and the crazy hairstyles and the clothes. I mean, you look at these award shows now, the one they just had back there in New York a few weeks ago, and they're wearing all these crazy ass clothes. I'm saying, come on, whatever happened to the tuxedo and the gown?
My Chuck Artisone's been in a tuxedo before, and people always ask me, like, what do you really look like? Well, here I am. This is my face. This is my name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and we just want to do good, clean stuff without any compromising, whether it's film or music or even if it's just acting on a play on the stage. And because a lot of the people that do the performing, these people have tremendous talent. Just look at the film United We Stand. Look at the talent that was on that stage that night. I'm
Wow.
telling you, great talent. But guess what? None of them had sacrificed their souls. And so they're just uh, great people, great musicians that work hard every week. They're working in clubs, in some of them, and making maybe a couple of $100 a night. And here is Taylor Swift, who can go out here and do a performance in Dubai somewhere and make $15 million for 45 minutes. And can't touch any of my T25CL artists. They can't. They can't.
I remember back in the day when we worked with Mark Rydell from On Golden Pond, and that is when we had cinema. Can
Mm-hmm.
you tell me, like, what's the difference between a movie and filming, and how has it transformed over time?
Well, yeah. I look at a lot of older movies from back in the day, even black and white films, and they're telling stories. There's one I really like called Nora Prentice with Ann Sheridan in it. This was made in, I think, 1949. Great act, and it had one very compelling story to it, and especially a story for married men, that may be in marriages that are bored and so forth and lack stimulation. Check it out, Nora Prentice, and we can talk about that sometime. The original The Day the Earth Stood Still with Michael Rennie in it. Heavy duty message in it for the people on planet Earth. And so cinema, as you say it, motion pictures, these were the names of them back in the days. There was a story to it. And it wasn't necessary, not just a lot of cussing and acting stupid and stuff on the scene. Hey, move, blah, 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 blah. I mean, the old Hollywood, as we know it, with the sign up on the hill and stuff. I mean, a lot of great talent, and the producers, the writers, directors, they told stories with meaning to it. And a lot of stuff nowadays, it's not like that. It's not like that.
Are we lacking, aside from money? Okay, that's a whole nother topic and we could cover that in 2 hours, maybe three. But are we lacking story content, character development? What tangible items need to happen to transform Hollywood back to what
Int-
we need? What needs to happen, Andre?
integrity. Integrity. It's between Hollywood and politics and society. Hollywood, if something they feel will sell, and you know, where there's a boys in the hood type of a situation or a slasher type movie, some monster going around killing up those stupid teenagers as they hop around and smoking cigarettes or weed and stuff at some stupid little party somewhere in middle of Illinois or something. And so these slasher type films with the stupid teenagers, you know, they make those, they make a little money and so forth. I think it's more or less about trends in society, and a lot of the trends are low base trends, but it just lacks the integrity of the people, of good family stories. That's why I'm gonna pick this thing up again. Sins of 72 is a redemption type film. Whereas if that's what you came from, that's okay. But you can come out of it and make something for yourself. Sins was in 72, but you redeemed yourself 20 years later, okay, 30 years later, 40 years later, you redeem yourself. And see, I can tell this stuff because when I had the school, a lot of my students were like young single girls and stuff, and they come from diverse backgrounds. A lot of them are single mothers. Um, I remember one student, I had to keep her out of jail. I kept her out of jail long enough to graduate. I had to write letters to the judge, and the judge let her stay out of jail until she graduated, based upon the strength of my letters. And then she went to jail for about a year after she graduated. And I used to, my students, and see, my partner that was a female, and she was the cosmetologist. See, I was on the business side of it. And, but my students would gravitate towards me because they looked at me as a fatherly type image. Miss Smith, my partner, get your ass back in there, do what you're supposed to do, you know. But they would come to me for consultation, advice, and so forth. And so I was sort of like father knows best with my students.
Yes, and absolutely. And you sound like a role model. And that's one thing that might be important in restoring Hollywood away from this cult that is running right now, is getting more role models and mentors in Hollywood. And you sound like you've been a mentor and a role model for
Hmm.
people over the years.
Hmm. Well, yeah, yeah. It's like with Sins of 72, like I said, the school was a backdrop of Sins of 72. But like I said, some stuff that jumped off in 72 on the streets of Oakland, and that stuff came forward into the school some years later. All right. And so, but see, I can feel that with my students. And like I said, my base in the school was probably 98% women, you know. And so I learned how to deal with women, you know. And so does Drake Batista in Sins of 72. That was his business in the 70s with women. And so he fast forwards into nowadays, and so he's dealing with women again, but on a whole different level. And he does not want to see the women in that school becoming what the women were when he was out there on the streets.
Absolutely and definitely. And you have movies on your website and
Yes.
in your company. What
Yeah.
kind of people or content would you be looking for to distribute for people other than my relationship building in the time of fear and the other talented people in my league?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's filmmakers all around, and they just get their cameras, maybe one or two cameras, get a few people who they know around, and they put a story together. And like Sandra Smith with Tiger Eye Films, she does these 8-minute films. She's done several of them. And so they tell this little story in 8, 9, 10 minutes and stuff. And other filmmakers, Sam Stiles, the director, made the film, the George Jackson story from the Black Panthers. And that's on our site. That's a free viewing, by the way. And but people, and if you're a filmmaker, you love this stuff. It's like a drug. You do it and you want to do it again. The ones that we have done here at T25CL are documentary films. My classmates from the class of 72, um, from Oakland Tech, wanted to do some reunions. And so they wanted me to document it. And so I did it. I made a few films out of it. Check out my film, The 50th Reunion of Oakland Technical High School. And,
Awesome. And that's on T25CL, right?
yep, and that's a free view. And we did one for the 40th year and did one for the 50th year. Now, the 50th year one, I really put my heart into that one. And it with all the experience and all the things I've been through, just learning this stuff because I didn't take filmmaking in school. I just learned it. And then after we did the Tech 50th reunion, a couple of my students that I went to school with, that from Tech, said, "Can you do my life story?" Rosemary Miller came to me and said, "Can you do my story?" And she has a very compelling story. And so we contracted with her to do her story. She paid us, and we did her story. Same thing with Gerald Jackson. He came out of Tech as well. Man, I want you to do my story. And he was doing his 70th birthday party. So he basically wanted to do a documentary film of himself and his party for his children and grandchildren. And so about 3 films that we did in the span of a year. And this was from 2022 through 2023. And loved all of it. Loved doing all of it.
Awesome, Andre. We're at the hour point. Anything we haven't covered that you want to cover before we wrap?
Well, what we want is for the artists that are there. This site is for you as a filmmaker and the musicians and stuff. We want people to promote themselves and drive, their clients to the site and to check out your film, and the other music artists to download their stuff. We're here to support. And if any of our artists want to do a show, just like what I'm doing right here with you, we have Galaxy Talk Radio as well. I will go on Galaxy Talk Radio and do a show promoting that artist. I'll spend an hour, just like what we're doing right now.
Absolutely and definitely. And I've been on that show before.
Yeah. And but this has been quite a ride with all the artists that I've met, the famous people that you may know, like Ohio Players, Al B. Sure, Dorian Harewood, I mean, Bill Duke. Uh, it's just been a whole bunch of people that I have met that are famous people. But the thing of it is, when you
can
meet
go
these
down the list. Shout out
yeah,
Chuck Artizone. Shout out Brian Connors. Keep
yeah,
going, Andre. Shout out.
well,
Do your shout outs, Andre.
Brenda Lee Edgar, like I said, who was famous back in the 70s and 80s and still has quite a heavy duty talent. Barbara Morrison. Uh, when you meet these people, the next thing you know, when you meet them, they're just normal people. They do the same things that you do. They go to the bathroom, they eat, they play pool, whatever. And I've explored the people side of them. I just got back from Dayton, Ohio about a month ago. Uh, Chet Willis, the guitar player, one of the original Ohio players, died, and we went back there to his services. But what was rewarding about that trip was James Diamond Williams, who is the head of the Ohio Players, the drummer, invited me, my brother, and Derek Jones to his home. And with all the musicians this was a private session. And we went downstairs in his home, and we had some great discussions about the histrionics of music. And I'm telling you, it was a very rewarding discussion. Wow. And we just had some great food, and man, it's just something when you actually are in the presence of people who had been doing this music from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And I've traveled all over the world with these guys, across the country. We've gone to the Bahamas together. And so they're friends and they're artists. And I'm just in amazement of what they do on that stage.
Absolutely and definitely very talented people. And we have to get those clips rolling all the time and make it a commercial, that kind of thing. But any last words you have, Andre, for our audience? How do investors reach out to you?
Investors don't. You just go out here and chop weeds or dig holes and try to find them. But it's going to be okay. I think I have that problem solved. And so, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
We're all good, Andre. We are all good. How do people reach out to you if they want to learn more from you? Because you have a world of expertise, years of experience. You're dated like I am. How do they reach out to you?
Go to our website at www.t25cl.com, or you can reach us by email at t25clcity@gmail. So just call there, or just send me a note, send me a message, and I'll get back to you if it's anything we need to talk about.
And I don't want to take away from the other artists. They are very talented, but Ren Trumbuline, we love you, Cassie. I'm praying for you. I've told your lawyers, Cassie, I'm praying for you. Andre, give me a quote.
Uh-oh. You want that quote again? Other men's sins are in front of our eyes, our own are behind our backs.
God bless you, Andre. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Kimberly Trapani. I enjoyed it, and I'll come back anytime you so desire.
God bless.
All right. Peace out.